on urgent need to investigate the massive deforestation and corruption that has crippled the environment and its effect on climate change in Nigeria, standing in the name of Honorable Rimamnde Shawulu. Honorable Rimamnde Shawulu is now invited to move the motion.
My name is Rimamnde Shawulu Kwewum. I represent Takum, Donga, Osa, and Yamtu Federal Constituency in Taraba State. The House, aware that Nigeria is facing serious environmental challenges, especially desertification, which is eating into the country at the rate of 350,000 hectares per annum. Also aware that part of the factors responsible for desertification and gully erosion is the indiscriminate felling of trees, which is driven largely by demand by foreign companies, resulted in one of the greatest and most dangerous destruction of our forest resources. Further aware that the massive conversion of our shrubs and small trees into charcoal for use in homes and small-scale businesses without any planned replacement or regulation gradually leads to the destruction of the ecosystem and would worsen the environmental problems facing the country. Concerned that efforts to control and regulate the practice of uncontrolled harvesting of trees have been done by corruption of serious and debilitating proportions. And contrary to the laws of the land, the rampaging merchants export the rosewood in form of logs rather than as processed and semi-processed timber that would have generated employment and businesses for thousands of unemployed youths. Equally aware that contrary to extant regulations that require the planting of 3 trees in place of one that is cut down, no effort is being made to plant new trees. Also concerned that there are gaps in the existing regulatory framework which have made governments at state, federal, and local government levels to abdicate their responsibilities and keep passing the buck. The House resolves to mandate, actually this is not what I, mandate an ad hoc committee to determine
on environment.
To investigate the regulatory to harvest forest resources owned by state governments, further investigate the non-compliance of these merchants and companies with the rule of pre-processing wood before export, and examine and determine the discrepancies between Chinese records of imports and Nigerian record of export of wood. I so move, Honorable Speaker.
I know that you are bound by the prayers as stated in the order paper, but it is like I had you alter your prayers. Are you proposing by way of amendment your prayers?
Came out in the order, the order paper is not what I submitted, the prayers.
Just amend it.
So I amend the prayers.
No, I don't think our rules permit that. All you would have done is to step it down and have it corrected. But the amendment can come from the floor, really. So let's pretend that you didn't amend the prayers.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Honorable Mukaila Olaiwola Kazim. I represent Abeokuta North, Obafemi Owode, another federal constituency. I rise to second the motion moved by my able friend regarding the deforestation. Thank you very much.
The state of Nigeria today is an unavoidable disaster, one that we can check and control. We are unfortunately doing almost nothing about the disaster that is ongoing. Our forest resources are being depleted with reckless abandon, as if there is no tomorrow. Almost all states of the Federation are affected by the felling of trees for domestic energy needs, and now on a much larger scale, the massive deforestation of Nigeria for commercial purposes. Even protected resources such as Pandam and Gashaka Gumti game reserves are not safe. Adamawa Plateau, Benue, Taraba, Kogi, Edo, Cross Rivers, and Ekiti state governments have complained very loudly about the activities of some of these foreign companies which are operating above the law and are becoming too powerful for the control of the state governments. In Taraba State, for instance, each day no fewer than 50 trailer loads of this unprocessed wood is taken out of the state. And the state government tried to regulate what these companies were doing, but the federal ministry told them that they had no right to control it, that it was the preserve of the federal government, whereas the forest resources were created and are being maintained by state governments. Today in Nigeria, the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations estimates that Nigeria has lost about 2.38% of its forest resources annually. By 2010, a total of 8 million hectares, that is 47% of our forest resources have been lost. When viewed against the background that the desert is encroaching into Nigeria at the rate of 350,000 hectares annually, there is no doubt that we need to stand up and take action. This harvesting of trees that is done even in areas that are forest reserves is destroying our ecosystem and creating problems. Secondly, there are existing laws that require that the wood being exported should be first processed. They should not be sent out as mere logs of wood. This would have generated employment apart from allowing for small-scale industries to emerge. However, today, these wood are taken out in their raw form, denying us of setting up wood industries and denying us the opportunity that employment could be generated. As a matter of fact, a lot of corruption in the system is going on. In 2014, for instance, the records of the Chinese customs showed that it imported 350 million worth of logs from Nigeria. Our custom records, on the other hand, showed that only about 20 million of wood had been taken from Nigeria to China. So what accounts for the remaining $330 million worth of wood that the Chinese said they got from Nigeria? This is happening because the regulatory framework is not very clear. Things have happened in such a way that different sectors are doing different things to create confusion in the industry. And Nigeria is losing a lot of money. Records in the customs of Nigeria are not the same with the records of the customs of the Chinese custom authorities. The people, if you do that in China, you will be executed. Here in Nigeria, people do them with careless abandon. And so there is need to take a holistic approach at this matter. Apart from the economic issues, the corruption issues, and the environmental issues, the young people that have been underpaid, who are taking this, who are engaged in cutting these logs of wood, are involved in taking drugs to make them do the work, carrying these heavy logs of wood into the trucks that come into these areas. There is therefore need for legislative action to investigate the whole legislative framework, to investigate the corruption that is going on in the area, and to also look at the fact that these companies are encouraging the use of drugs, hard drugs, by young people in all the areas that they are operating. And of course, the state governments are almost unable to control them. So I'm craving for the support of my honorable colleagues that we impanel a committee that will look at these things urgently, holistically, beyond one issue, so that the further legislative actions in terms of even amending the existing laws can be done. I so propose, Honorable, Speaker and honorable colleagues. Thank you very much.